Advancing the cause of liberty takes more than just coming up with ideas. It means making them happen. This is Society and the State. Life, liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. Now, your hosts, Connor Boyack and Brian Hyde.
And welcome to the Society and the State podcast. I'm Brian Hyde. Connor is taking this episode off. I'm very happy to be talking with Bryce Jurgensmeier today. And Bryce, I have to admit, I'm kind of a newcomer to your work, but when I saw that you are the expert on how things go viral, I was like, okay, I need to know what this guy knows. First of all, before we talk about how things go viral, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. What is it that makes you tick?
Awesome. Appreciate the intro. So yeah, what makes me tick, I'm passionate about shareable stories and why people share what they do. I was fortunate enough to work with a few people in this space that were really skilled in that area. Cameron Manwaring for one. And I got started when YouTube started to really become this potential business platform, and people were starting to do commercials and branded content back in 2009, 2010. I got involved with a marketing company on their founding team. And yeah, we were just sharing all these videos and trying to get them placed all over. And I saw my passion in that area and my future being involved with. I want to be continuously involved with content that gets shared organically that people want to promote, as well as engineering that content, being behind it, and finding ways to reverse those successes to implement in the future. And so I'm a natural at trying to tell good stories. I guess I've always enjoyed that, and video especially. So got my involvement in that angle. And then a year ago, my wife and I actually left that agency because I wanted to build a YouTube channel with my wife. So I left that one and started another one. And so I have a production marketing company called Exposure Media, and then started a YouTube channel with my wife where there's no holding back. If we don't have a brand to work with, we can just create content on our own and work on creating stories that people like to share and that get out. And so that's kind of every day I'm either involved in strategy for a client or a brand to help them create stories that are more shareable. And then for our own channel, doing adventures every day and every week as we upload on our daily schedule there.
Now, it sounds like something that keeps you hopping. In fact, just for the sake of people wondering, what was that in the background? You're actually sitting at the airport as we record this podcast, so people should know Bryce is on the go here, but this is just kind of part of what you do and who you are. Bryce, I'm just going by the sound of your voice, but you sound like a fairly young guy. Do you remember a time when there wasn't the internet or when YouTube wasn't a feature in your life?
I do. Yeah, sorry I jumped right into that. But yeah, I remember the days when I had a school project and I was really excited to use Encarta. Do you guys remember that program?
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't have to look up on Encyclopedia, and it had the cool pictures and the dial-up where people had to be off the phone for that to work. And even before then, when it was just books and going to the library. So I turned 30 in March. So I barely remember life before internet. But
well, the reason I ask that question is because there are a lot of us, who are far on the north side of 30, and there's also a lot of folks though who are under 30 years of age, and sometimes we take it so for granted, the technological revolution that happened right under our noses. And I guess the question I have for you is, when it comes to, for instance, videos, how much has YouTube changed the way that people get their messages out?
That's a great question. I think, so one thought on that, back in, let's jump back a decade or so, when in school, obviously we've always consumed content and stories, I think forever. So it's stories that families pass down or history, however that is. But so then you got these TV series like 10 years ago, because that's all it was on TV. And so they'd come to school and be like, hey, did you see the episode of this? Or, hey, did you watch Friends? Did you see this? Or Seinfeld? And I almost feel like, well, it wasn't as saturated as now. And commercials, everyone was just expecting to have commercials on. But now that you can TiVo it or skip it, or because of YouTube, brands and everyone has had to kind of up their game at grabbing attention. And that's for better and for worse, I think. So you have people that are just so loud and trying to share so much drama that it just grabs your attention and you can't pull your eyes away. And that's in my opinion, the negative part. But the good part is you got other people who are just finding out, why do people originally love stories? Why do they love consuming content? Let's go back to the basics and sharing the best part of that type of content versus wasting any time or space. And also respecting people's time. So you can't just make a commercial now that's blatantly about your product or about your message and expect people to drop what they're doing. You really need to make it resonate and be relevant to them. And so I think YouTube has changed in that way, where it's had to be, your content needs to become more relevant if people actually want it to be effective and survive.
So it sounds to me like there's kind of a mixed blessing here, in the sense that if you had a message to get out, and I'll go back even 20, 30 years ago, writing a letter to the paper, a letter to the editor was one of the ways people's voices could be heard, or placing an ad in the paper or on television or on radio. But the internet has opened up all these possibilities, and the gatekeepers, for the most part, have been done away with. But unfortunately, it sounds like that has also opened the door to a lot of time wasters and people who have a valuable message to share. Why is it important that message go viral?
Yeah, solid question. And that, honestly, I don't think nothing can do what a viral message can do for you. So a few things that happen when something goes viral is, obviously people are seeing the video all over, and it comes at a spike. And so I will say this, there's a strategy. You don't want to just only do viral. And viral in and of itself is not an end goal, because getting millions of views is great, but what were you hoping to accomplish from that? Did you weave into that message about your product or where people can go and buy? Do you have a landing page? Are you gaining subscribers from that to then retarget or follow up with? And so going viral, though, is so helpful, because I like to do things that people I respect like to do. And word of mouth referrals, we all know, is super effective. If a brand makes a video, or anyone, a creator makes content, and someone else shares it, they might not even be fully supporting the new Nike shoes or whatever, but they just love what that video is about, and so they're sharing it solely for the video. But in my mind, subconsciously, I'm like, oh, they love Nike, just because they shared the video that Nike created. I'm just here at the airport, and I just saw someone's Nike shoes walking by, so that's how it came to mind.
It's a message that worked.
Yeah, right. And so, that was their word of mouth referring. But you can create content that people are sharing because it has cute and adorable cats. And when the end friend or end user sees that share on social media, subconsciously they recognize where that content is coming from. It's coming from this brand, and so, oh, this brand is cool amongst my friends, or my friends like this brand, and so they turn into a warm lead. They're more approachable. You now have this relationship that it can start from nothing, or if you already have a relationship, it fosters it and becomes better. And for some reason, we all just, if something is big or relevant, everyone wants to know about it, solely just because it's big and relevant. And so if you can tap into both of those things, the friend is sharing the video, so you got the friend referral, and also, oh, everyone is talking about this. What is it? I want to be part of it. That it's just, you can't limit its exponential effect and helpful impact. Also, it reaches beyond your budget. So if it's not shareable or viral, your content gets out there to as many subscribers or email lists or however far your budget is for advertising to display that ad. But when it's a viral piece, if one person shares it and another shares it and another shares it, these are people sharing it on their own free will, and it goes way beyond your budget. So any brand at any point can benefit from a viral.
It's like people are choosing to evangelize your message.
Yeah, which is huge.
So let me circle back for a moment. I want to come back to the word brand, because I worked in radio for many, many years, and when I hear the word brand, I have a tendency to sometimes think in terms of, there must be a brand manager. In other words, a big corporation, Procter & Gamble, has brand managers that go out there and they protect the brand of a particular product. It sounds to me like you are using the word brand, though, in a much broader sense. Am I understanding you correctly? Even a person who just simply has something to say online, a blogger or something like that, can have a brand?
Correct, yeah. And I think that's with our time period right now. Everyone essentially is creating their own brand online, whether it's just your Twitter account, your Instagram, or your mom's Facebook page, all the posts she's sharing about you.
Sure.
It's all creating this online brand. So, yeah, you're correct there.
Okay, so what's the biggest mistake most people make when they go about setting up a brand or trying to portray a brand online?
Ooh, you're good at this. These are good questions. So I think in this same wavelength, because sometimes we can get caught up in the chase of wanting so many likes or followers. Sometimes people take it to the extreme where they reverse engineer things that are taking off, and then they create that, and it's obvious that their only goal is just for views or for likes or for subscribers, to increase their online popularity, quote unquote. And they miss what their core messaging is. So cool, you made a video that was along with the trends, and it was awesome. And it was about fidget spinners or whatever. But does anyone know more about you, what you're hoping to tell the world or to get out there? And so, that's where people can mess up, is by chasing that online popularity without weaving in their actual messaging or their purpose, starting with that why and keeping that the whole time.
What about the folks who may have a really good, maybe a world-changing idea or message, but they're only delivering that message to the same 12 people who've subscribed to their feed or to their blog? How do they break out of that and learn to truly become viral?
Awesome question. So how do they break out from consistently sharing to just their small following?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, their core tribe loves them and is there, it's mom, I saw what you posted on social media, honey. But if you have a message that you're trying to get out to a broader audience, it seems sometimes that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, correct. It is. First thing that we encourage is to locate who are the people that you want to reach. Who is that ideal avatar or demographic or potential customer? Who are those people, and how big can that audience be? And once you've done that, locate where do they spend their time online. And not only, I think obviously so many brands and people and agencies do this, they find out, okay, where are people spending their time? But take it to the next level of where are they sharing online? So if you have these 12 people that are your avid followers, check out their branding, check out their personal pages, and what are they sharing? And then go to those. So if they shared a page from content from Huffington Post, go to Huffington Post and find out what's more content that people are sharing that's reaching a broader audience. And then look at, now how can I weave in that content into what I'm already doing right now? So even if it's a tech channel or a channel about, a certain type of build with a 3D printer, and it's all about 3D printer fixing and how-tos and whatever. The people that are following you, those 12 followers, they also consume other content and they share other content. And so look at that and, maybe they're sharing something about sports or about animals, and you can weave in creating a sports figure with a 3D printer that hits a bigger demographic, or an animal, or some type of trending topic. it's pretty, it comes up, it surfaces the top of the cream as you dive in and find out what are they sharing online. Okay. And then what are their friends sharing? And then you find this common thread, and that's what you can use to weave into your own content.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, you had mentioned earlier that there are a lot of people who get online and they see what's working, and they, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and so they do maybe a slightly modified version of what somebody else is doing. How important is authenticity? In other words, your own voice compared to just doing what other people are doing?
Very important. That's one of our principles. So we have 6 principles that we seek to apply to every piece of content that we hope goes viral, and one of those is authenticity. It gives a sticky factor. It gives people a reason to stay for your next piece of content. If you're just sharing the same thing as exactly as someone else did, cool. Well, they'll enjoy that and they appreciate that. They'll engage with it. But if they know they can already get that elsewhere, I mean, you will still get a conversion of people to stay and come back for more content, but you'll get a higher percentage as the more authentic your content and messaging is.
I think there's a great lesson in that. When somebody does something exceptionally well, people kind of hold them up as the standard. For instance, I was in talk radio for a lot of years, and people used to, hold up Rush Limbaugh. Oh, he's the guy who opened all the doors, which is largely true. He really kind of set the standard. And when someone would say, "You're the next Rush Limbaugh," for a while, that seemed like a really big compliment. But then there eventually came a point where I realized there can only be one Rush, or there should only be one Rush Limbaugh. I need to be me, and whatever it is that I do, exceptionally, well, or I'm exceptionally passionate about, that's where I need to focus.
I love that. You're right. And you can use similarities to build, right? But then as you stay consistent with your own content and who you are, then you surface out and people realize that. I love that.
So tell me, who are the people who seek you out? I mean, this is what you do. You teach people how to make things go viral. Do you hear more from business owners? Do you hear from political strategists? Do you hear from movers and shakers, or just people who have a story that they want to tell? Or does it cover all of those bases?
It's a pretty broad spectrum. So we've built into how we work, where we have a full-on production company that can produce the content and create it. So if it's someone who maybe they don't have, short answer, companies, just even someone who wants to start their own social following. I'm talking to a guy right now who he works on Wall Street, and he is also a host on CNN and does a few other things. And he is starting a cooking channel because he loves to cook, and not everyone knows that about him, but he's passionate about it. And so we're coming up with a strategy for him right now. And so that's just one individual we're working with, but then we also work with brands, food chains, like I said, movers and shakers. Yeah, we have had people reach out to us, especially, with the past few years, you've seen how the news has swayed in politics because of social media. So we have had a lot of people reach out to us for that. So we work with them. If they have their own production company, we just help with consulting and ideas and research. If they have nothing but themselves, we work with that as well. We like to shake things up. So the only common thing is, all right, let's find out what their audience loves and shares, and let's create that. And then wherever their audience is spending time online, let's build relationships with those platforms. So when their content is created, they can share it with those platforms, and it blitzes out to their digital world. Nice.
Why is it that video is such a powerful way to reach an audience today?
So actually, now that I'm saying the phrase, what is it? There's a picture holds 1,000 words.
Okay, yeah.
So they say.
Yeah.
Video holds so much more. We saw that with the platform of Vine, that within 6 seconds you can do a complete advertisement. You can create, so you can help someone in their current situation, provoke a thought or make their day or cause them to laugh immediately within just seconds with this video. And it also, when you create content for the purpose of blessing the people who follow you, so your 12 followers or your 12 million followers,
right?
You're creating content to benefit them, to help them out, like with your podcast and what you guys are doing. That already is helping them and benefiting them. And then as you do it in a way of, not only do I want to benefit them, but create content that gives them a conversation piece online for the people that they care about. So you create this video where all they have to do is tag their friend or their coworker and say, this is what I appreciate about you, or this is why I want to go see this movie, or this is how I feel about this political issue, whatever it is, or this is why I love this product. You're creating this, you're basically giving them a bonding moment with a coworker or a friend by giving them a conversation piece. And so take it that next step further. Not only do I want to benefit them, but give them something to share. That creates this relationship that's stronger and some more loyalty, because they know, like, they become more appreciative of you and your platform, even if it's subconsciously. And video can bring that super efficiently. It can bring it really quickly, and you can take someone out of their current mindset into video, as well as with podcasts, right? Because everything that you're talking about, people can picture it in their own mind, and they know exactly what you're talking about because they've pictured it in their mind, and so it relates to them. And so video, you can also control what the setting is, so you don't have any misunderstandings.
Okay, Bryce, we're up against the end of the podcast here, but if we want to steer our listeners to get better acquainted with you and the work that you're doing, is there a website that they can visit? There
is, yeah. And it's just howthingsgoviral.com. So I'm on social media at Bryce Jurgy, Jurgy, but you can find me on howthingsgoviral.com as well. And that actually leads to a platform, a community, even a Facebook group of people that are all trying to create shareable content in different spheres, and a really cohesive and helpful group that people can come and be a part of.
Okay, so I will have a link on this podcast episode. This is Society in the State /47. And Bryce Jurgensmeier, thank you so much for visiting with us, talking about how things go viral. I'm sure that our paths are going to cross again.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciated it.
Thanks for listening to Society and the State. For show notes, archives, and more great content, visit societyandthestate.com.